Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and right now I've got Sevan Najarian with me. Hey,
Yes.
Sevan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. All right, so you are the unique guest on this podcast who didn't come through Sherman Oaks Film Festival or Film Invasion LA. You're here because you are the director of of a new feature that's actually playing all around the country, feature animated film. And I'm just going to read the title so I don't fuck it up. The Whitest Kids U'Know's Mars. Because it's funny, I knew it as Mars, and then when I was watching the film, I noticed that it always mentioned it's the Whitest Kids You Know Mars. Mars.
Yeah, I love that there's two apostrophes in the title of the movie.
Yeah, that's right. There's the apostrophe after the U, and then there's the nose.
Yeah, because the U is an abbreviation, and and then the nose. Yeah, I don't know. The movie was called a lot of things. We settled on, we always just called it Mars with a bunch of exclamation points, so like 3 exclamation points with bold letters, Mars. But at the last minute, the distributors were like, we should brand it Whitest Kids U'Know, so it's at least something Googleable.
Yeah, actually, the Google thing makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I would, and I get it. The distributors wanna tie it in with the Whitest Kids You Know because they're a known entity.
Yeah, they're a known entity, and recently Zach Kreger has been directing great horror movies these days.
I think the words are he fucking blew up.
Yeah, he blew
Right?
up, and he's the lead in Mars. He's the lead character.
Yeah. Yeah, although comedy-wise, right, he's playing his character's like the straight
Yeah,
man.
he's usually the straight guy. He describes it as like just like the forgettable white man, the everyman.
Yeah, but as everyone knows, look, I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s. Every great comedy, you had to have, I make the Taxi reference. You needed Alex Rieger or all the funny characters couldn't have played, right?
Right, for sure.
For sure. But, and it sounds like this film was a long time coming. It was...
Yeah, they wrote it a long time ago, probably like 14 years ago. They started writing it right after their show. They just wanted to write stuff together still. And it just got shelved for a while just because it's prohibitive to shoot it if they don't have a pretty big budget. So they kind of tossed it around a bunch and kept coming back to it because they liked it. And thought maybe we could shoot this on blue screen, do it live action in our garage or whatever, which I'm like, I'm all for that. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. But then during the pandemic, they just decided, what if we find an animator to do it? And I so happened to have been in their network because I worked in as a visual effects and animator for a couple of Disney shows, and Trevor Moore had been the executive producers on those shows, and so we pretty much worked together for a couple of years, like maybe 6 years or so, just working on kids show graphics and animation and stuff like that. So he kind of knew me as an animator, and then I knew Sam Brown from Channel 101, and he knew me as an animator and as a visual effects artist and a lot of other things, directing and stuff. Wear a lot of hats, thanks to Channel 101 actually. So from there, they just knew that I'm able to make something for like something on the cheap, something on the DIY, something on like indie filmmaking style. And so I took it on, and it was we worked on it, I don't know, for 3 years or so.
Right, it was a long development process. Was that also the 3 years was about changing it from live action to animation?
No, once I got it, it was strictly animation at that point, a feature film animation. So I just took it from there. We did record a bunch of voices. It didn't really take that long to get like an animatic put together, a few months. And then from there, we just took about a year to creating assets and animating it, and then editing it and all the standard stuff you do to regular a film. Sound design, stuff like that. And it only took, that didn't take that long, but for the most part, the animation takes forever. But we were kind of relying on a steady flow of donations from the mass amount of people that are fans of the Whitest Kids. And they had this Twitch stream every Saturday where just streams of money would pour in for this project. It was pretty insane.
So it was the kind of thing where they brought you in and you started, and then they continued fundraising while you were producing it, while you were directing it, making it.
Yeah. So like I could have probably hired a whole huge team and then finished it sooner, but the way that their funds were coming in, it had to be a smaller team, which was fine because it's a slow burn anyways. So if you make the team real small, you can kind of find the synergy better that way. So we just waited for them to keep fundraising as we were doing it, and I think 2 years they kept 2 years they fundraised, even through the death of the main one of the main guys, Trevor Moore, during in the middle of the production. So that was obviously a down point for us, and we had to stop down for a few weeks, and we didn't think that there was going to be any more fundraising, so we thought we were done. And he was a big driving force in the production and the writing and the creative, and also generally the business part of it. He was like the guy because he's run shows on like cable TV networks. So, yeah, when he died, it was a big blip in just depression all the way around because we all kind of knew him personally as well. But
Yeah, I mean, this team, these everyone's been friends for a very long time.
yeah, they all came from I don't know, back east. I don't know exactly their story, but they're all from back east. I think they met each other in somewhere in New York or Brooklyn or something. Went to the same school together, and came out to L.A. to work on stuff. But it's the I think I knew them as like a comedy troupe back in the day at the UCB theater in Hollywood, so that they would frequent that a lot. And I spent a lot of time at Channel 101, which is similar to that. It's a group of creative filmmakers getting together every month to watch each other's stuff. And so there was a lot of back and forth between those two groups at the time. So we all kind of got to know each other. And those guys moved here together and spent a lot of time together and did a lot of writing and performing together. So, and the synergy is there. It was there for the movie too.
Yeah, I mean, I personally actually experienced that. For me, I was part of a group of friends starting in actually junior high, and we lost a guy, and everyone we lost him in 2020, actually, first month of COVID, and like when there's a group of friends who are like really tight, like you just pause everything for a while,
Yeah.
and you don't, and you're just sort of you're just handling it, you're just processing, and then yeah, you actually you reach a point where you start doing things in tribute, and so I'm not too surprised that everyone took a break for a bit, and then also realized we have to finish this thing to honor him.
Yep. That's the great part of the turn was that we were bombarded by fans with outreach for us to finish it, and knowing that it was his last project. So we really found a new energy to finish it up, and it was a great feeling to get the support and like triple charged the funding at that point. So we got way closer to our budget.
Yeah, and one thing with animation is, right, you had already had his entire voice performance recorded.
Yeah. Like
that was in the can.
That was great. We didn't necessarily get a chance to do any pickups, and we could have, but we resigned to obviously use what we had. But ultimately, it was great that he could put his full voice into it, and also he saw the animatic, so he improved it. So he knew the story and the pacing, and did a lot of sound design and music work in the animatic, so he got to pretty much see the movie.
Right. And by animatics, you're talking like character design and look and
yeah,
feel.
like it's basically a cartoon that's like the lowest render possible. So it's just still images playing to audio, and nothing's animated. So it's just it's like a storyboards put in a timeline.
Right.
So
right.
and a radio play, but that's usually how you start to the process of animation is heavily involved in the storyboarding and animatic process, because that's where you find the movie right there. You're able to chip it away and shape it in that stage the best.
Yeah, and I might as well ask right now, were there specific inspirations for the look of the animation? Because I have to admit, it has a really cool, almost nostalgic feel, like the style of animation.
Sorry, I lost that last part.
Yeah, yeah, we froze. Zoom froze on us for a second. I was just talking about the look, the character look,
Yeah.
and the style of the animation. It, I mean, were you going for an '80s vibe together, or?
I don't know. I guess that's just the style. That's like kind of our house style. If you've seen some of my old stuff, it's very like I originally animated and worked with a lot of artists on the original Rick and Morty piece that was made for Channel 101 a long time ago, back in 2005, I think. It was called The Real Adventures of Doc and Marty. And I animated that, and it's a very shocking piece of little cartoon that we made to just shock an audience. But then it turns into Rick and Morty, and it's like the most.
I see why the Whitest Kids would have seen that. If I don't, I'm not like they saw that, and that's why you all became friends and working together. But I actually did watch it because you put you mentioned it before this, so I made a point of watching it, and that was funny as hell. And it certainly, and the comedy of with all the ball licking and whatnot definitely lines up with the comedy in the film.
Yeah, so I think I was uniquely situated to be around really grossly shocking comedians that came out of the 2005 era of internet filmmaking. And so like Tim and Eric comes out of the same world. So does the Lonely Island that are on SNL, and all of Rick and Morty, and a bunch of
I remember back in that era loving like icebox.com and stuff, and just a lot of, there's sort of a renaissance with, I guess it was all flat. That was a lot of that was flash animation, but
yeah, I mean, it's similar. There wasn't, Channel 101 wasn't really known as animation as much back in the day, but I did make House of Cosby's, which was a big deal back in the day, and that's sort of a similar style. I think the style I choose is like the simplest way of animating, because it really is, that's the hardest part, is animating it. So if you can have a simple character design as possible, then it's easier to animate and it's cheaper. But other than that, I guess the influences, I kind of go off of artists that I like their art, and the guy that I hired to be the art director, James Bristow, he has a very specific style that I like, and it does kind of push toward an 80s look to it, huh? And I guess a lot of the inspiration that I kept giving was like Mobius, so it's I guess that's where kind of that style comes from, I guess.
very cool. And I guess I'll ask, since we were talking about the humor of it too, was that an additional reason to just sort of go independent and crowdfund so that you didn't have to deal with anyone editing out the funniest shit you had?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that a lot, actually, because we're like, when we were recording the voices for it, there were moments where like, and this is why we can't sell it to a network or a studio or anything, because they will not want us to do this scene, and it always comes down to the doll licking scene. Would have been probably the first thing cut if we did have a
and yet one of the most important things to the story.
Yeah, it's a good button. I think I like the button of it, and also it's kind of a meta joke on the fans, because the fans call each other doll lickers, and they didn't even know what it was until now. So if they haven't seen the movie, they don't know what a doll licker is. So they've been just calling each other this for the last, I don't know, 5 years or so.
Oh, like fans who contributed to the film and stuff.
Yeah, it's a big,
contributors were called doll lickers.
Yeah, it's a big community. So if they're getting on Twitch to watch, the chat flies with all their Whitest Kids isms, like their internal language. And a lot of it is that. Sorry, I lost my thought exactly.
Yeah, no worries, and it's very cool, and it's, I mean, obviously that's one of the reasons why I'm involved in film festivals and just love the kind of things you see from independent creatives, is that, you know, it's not filtered. You get to, you know, why make a film that doesn't have things I haven't seen before, right? Like I want people to be able to be fresh and original.
Yeah, and I think that's great. It's like a boiler room or just a melting pot, and that's why I'm still involved with Channel 101 today, because it's just attracting interesting animators to it, and they're making stuff every month. And it's a fun competition. It happens every month, and it's been happening for 23 years, and or longer. No, about 23 years. And so that is just like a big melting pot of creatives that are creating stuff, and I can't wait to see what like the backlash to AI is in filmmaking.
Oh man, that's a topic.
Yeah. Just really interested to see what the future of filmmaking is, because I think the DIY or the indie film movement is like coming back in another wave of, I think, in response to the AI slop that comes out. So there's gonna be auteurs doing it yourself filmmaking the traditional way, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, beside, and then once the film was completed, and you described that process a little while ago, then did you? So you had the nice 8 city tour of Alamo. You rolled it out, or you did a theatrical where you did a different city for like month and a half almost, right?
Yeah, so there was a tour. We went to 8 different cities. We started in LA, then we went to San Francisco. That was pretty easy. And then we had to fly out, or a couple of us flew out to Denver and then Austin the next weekend. And then the final weekend, we all went to Chicago and New York.
Right.
So we had a great time going on tour. We did Q&As at the screenings. We went to all these Alamos and all these cities. And it was fun because the audience was mostly fans, and a lot of them had their names in the credits. We asked them every time, like, how many people have seen the name in the credits, and a bunch of hands would go up. So a lot of these people are just like there to experience what they were part of, as well as meet the guys, because they're really generous with their fans. So they will line up and do like a meet and greet with pretty much everybody that wants to. So that pretty much happened in every city, which was interesting to see.
And that's really special. And that, I mean, besides respecting fans, I mean, it's almost like a personal festival run.
Yeah, they treated it like a comedy show tour, kind of, because like I didn't put that together until later, because like they were doing shtick on stage, and I was trying to fit myself into that shtick, but like they do it just naturally without even having to plan.
Right. I mean, they're a well-oiled machine of sketch
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they were very fun to work with and very fun to tour with, and I'm glad that happened, because it really got me a chance to like listen to a bunch of reactions, because I really just thrive on that mostly. Just I wanted to see how well the movie does, like how the jokes work, and how, if they were timed properly. Like a lot of the editing decisions I make thinking I'm working on this too hard, but then I see it on the screen in front of an audience, and they appreciate it, and so I'm like, great, I'm on the right track. That's the kind of feedback I need, and so that's really rewarding to be able to see it with audiences, and different audiences from all over the U.S. was great. It was a fun experience.
that is, and that is, I mean, obviously I'm a festival guy, so I think there's nothing more important than filmmakers and audiences sharing the space together. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, what is more sterile and lifeless than like a film just being released, on streaming, and there's just,
Yeah.
you're never even in a room with other people, let alone with the director and some of the writers. Like
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic, and especially with when you go outside of LA to like in Chicago, like they're really appreciative of you. They're like down to earth people that like in LA you just get too used to people like trying to name drop or tell you what they're doing a lot. So,
and or
yeah.
pitch something to the kids.
Yeah, or pitch something. Yeah. So and I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing about potential projects. So when they go outside of the city, especially even in San Francisco, nobody's talking that way. So it's very refreshing to watch the movie with that in mind, is that these are kind of normal people outside of my sphere of LA influence or whatever. So that was actually the most rewarding, is to see the types of people that react to the types of jokes, because a lot of people can be offended by the jokes in this movie. And we took out a lot of fat jokes just because we thought like this. I don't know. We're a little bit too many fat jokes in this one. We left one in, But it was just kind of bad, just kind of not.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know
nonsensical.
what character you're talking about.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that was just a joke between the guys, anyways. So it was just beating that guy down.
For sure.
Wimmy Tilliams. Yeah, it was just interesting to see how jokes landed better outside of LA, I think.
Oh, was that hurts my heart as an Angelino, but I totally know what you're talking about. Sometimes
Yeah.
it depends on the crowd. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you had a real group of fans too there.
Yeah, there
At
were
the
definitely
LA
a bunch of
screenings.
fans. Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. But the LA screenings were, I think, just smaller seats. It was just like a smaller theater. Outside of, like, Mountain View was a great theater. It was like, it fit like 120 people or so. And that was a good atmosphere. And they gave us cookies afterwards. They gave the whole audience cookies at the Alamo.
You can't beat a cookie. Damn.
Yeah. Just like a line of people getting handed a cookie.
When you talk about jokes landing, I mean, the doll licking had to get one of the best laughs, no?
Yeah, I think the doll licking has a couple reactions back to back. First, it's like what the fuck is going on? Like, why is it like this guy was a normal character until just now, and then because we saw it with a bunch of fans, a lot of them were like, oh, like that, and so like that happened in the middle of it all too, and like there was a chuckle because of it, and there's a chuckle because of how like weird it is and just like it is. So like just a bunch of reactions just made my day. That was a big one. But I think like people really like the acronym jokes.
The acronym jokes are excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of fun little jokes just hidden throughout it. And I think I saw it with a group of people that pretty much laughed at every joke. They were all my friends, but like that's good. That's good to feel too, that my friends that know my work are laughing at my work. So
For sure, because they're the ones that they won't give you a courtesy laugh either, will they?
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Can't fake it. Yeah, you can't fake it in my friends group if you're laughing at for real or not.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's something I always say about, the comedy and horror are some of the hardest genres to pull off compared to everything else because you can't fake a scare and you can't fake a laugh.
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe that's why Zach is so great at both. And just like comedians or people that come from comedy do really great horror. Because it's the same kind of nut to crack, I guess.
Right? And elements of horror and comedy and horror always kind of work. Like it's
You
some
need
some
some
right
levity.
some of the
Yep.
best things overlap a little.
Yeah, that's yeah. I like that idea. I love working in comedy. I also I like working in like documentary and stuff like that too, and cartoons. But comedy seems to be where I'm most suited, just because of I like the timing, like the editorial timing of comedy is really what I obsess about. Because I think you can almost make anything funnier if you edit it properly. Or if you edit it out. So
Oh man, I mean, don't give me it. I have seen so many things be funny on the page,
Yeah.
funny on the set, and then if the editor doesn't have a sense of humor,
right,
it can just fall flat, and like someone can just pick it up and make it funny again.
right.
It's
Yeah, and
the editing comedy is like one of the great talents. I mean, I don't mean to put down the drama, folks, but let's be honest, it's a little less challenge because you kill a joke and it's just done.
And the good thing about comedy is parody. So you're basically doing drama. You could do drama as a parody, and then you get chops doing that. So that's why I like comedy. Is like you end up doing all these genres. Like I do a lot of sci-fi comedy and like just basic teen drama comedy or something, or just late night talk show comedy, which I do on my stage. I have a stage in my backyard. It's like a green screen stage, and we do weekly shows sometimes on this big network called troupehomevideo.com. It's like it's like the leftovers of Harmontown, if you know what that is. It was a big podcast a while ago. That fandom kind of went to this other thing, which is basically just like a pirate TV network. It only plays on Sundays. There's no VOD. You can't just watch it on demand. You have to tune in, and that's kind of just the vibe he wanted for the show. And so we do a couple of daytime talk show or nighttime talk shows for that. So I like doing that kind of comedy as well. Just have a multi-camera, basically Twitch stream stage.
I mean, are you live directing it or are you performing too?
I'm doing both. Yeah, sometimes I'm performing. I'm mostly directing it and doing the camera work and stuff, and the lighting and all that stuff, and producing just generally. I help produce guests and jokes and bits and stuff like that. Shoot a lot of materials for it, prep a lot of stuff for it. But so like I have my hands in a lot of things, and it always seems to be comedy that's like natural to me.
Yeah, I'm going to make an assumption about you, which is often with comedy, people who could be performing eventually realize, well, if I'm on stage, it's X amount of funny, but if I actually get behind the scenes, then I can make everything funnier.
Yeah, the thing was, and when I get in front of the camera, I'm always pissed that nobody behind the camera is adjusting the camera for me. You know?
Exactly.
Like I spent so much effort like making people in front of the camera look good, and I toss myself in front of the camera, and all of a sudden there's nobody behind the camera, which sucks. So I tend to stay out of it. But I really don't care that much anymore about aesthetic when I'm on camera. I'm more of a run and gun kind of shooter. So if I'm in front of the camera, I'll just do my thing and not care about lighting as much. I'll fix it in post or something because I'm good at VFX. So if I'm like I don't like the way I look, I'll just fix myself in VFX.
For sure, you'll fix it in post.
Yeah, for me, it's a good goal because that is my skill is fixing it.
Well, and do you? I'm also talking because Zoom froze on us again, but you probably couldn't hear me for a sec there. But do you want to share like how you got into this stuff in the beginning? Like, were you always a creative kid? Were you?
Oh yeah. The earliest I remember is having a video camera. We got like a VHS video camera as a family, and it was handed to me, and I just never put it down. And a friend of ours had showed us this stupid video they were submitting to America's Funniest Home Videos, where they made like a commercial, and then they made this other stupid video of them like putting the camera upside down. This is like the first like camera trick I've seen. Put the camera upside down and put your hands on the ceiling and just kind of pretend like you're walking on your hands, right? But I was like enamored with that, and then I was enamored with stop motion as well. So I did like try to do stop motion with that camera, and I shot like all the family events, and I dug up a video of myself shooting Disneyland. I wasn't shooting us I was literally just shooting Disneyland, like panning shots of Disneyland happening, right? So like and then like really nicely done panning shots in the 90s or whatever. And so I think I just started to document a lot of stuff as a kid because I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, so having that as a background pushed me to have a good imagination, because when you're sitting at church for 3 days a week for a couple hours as a kid, you need to be able to go into your imagination to entertain yourself. And so I feel like I really just like learned how to tell stories right away to myself and I believed them too. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and I don't really believe that stuff anymore. And but I started working in the industry. Well, I just went to college and met my friend Justin Roiland there in college in Modesto, California. It's just up north from LA, like 5-hour drive.
Yeah, and you grew up in LA?
No, I grew up in Modesto.
Oh, so Bay, right? Got you.
So it was kind of close to the Bay Area. It's like an hour and a half away from San Francisco. But right smack in the middle of California. It's like the lowest below sea level area, but also surrounded by farms and corporate corporate restaurants coming in and out of there. It's the town of George Lucas. That's his original hometown. They have like a statue for him there. So I was kind of like a Star Wars fan because of that. But like a late Star Wars fan. Like I didn't discover it until I was like 15 because I wasn't allowed to watch it as a Jehovah's Witness because it said the word wars in the title. and that's just too violent for Jehovah's Witness kids
That
to
was
watch.
the deal killer. Got it.
Yeah. So I when I turned 15, I like disobeyed my parents and watched it anyways, and just really got fascinated by the visual effects of it all, and just like how are you putting these ships in space, and just like trying to figure that out. And then I went to school to figure it out, learning Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere with film classes. Met my friend Justin. We started making comedy and cartoons back then. And Justin's the guy that created Rick and Morty. He does the voices. And so we were just like working at Best Buy together, a shitty job while making stuff on the side. And we made a bunch of commercials for the hometown for a record store. So it was like our used record store. We made a bunch of commercials, and they played it during like the Daily Show on Comedy Central and stuff. So a lot of our friends that were watching the Daily Show just watched our commercials as well. So it was kind of funny.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, people recalled locally those commercials, and we're able to meet with those people that saw it and stuff. That was an interesting way of meeting an audience, you know.
That must have also been pretty cool to be that age. And yeah, because Daily Show comedy, it was basic cable, so there was some local advertising. So it must have been fucking rad to be that age and actually see stuff you did on TV and have your friends see it without you telling them to.
Yeah, and I never saw it. I don't think I was watching that much TV like that, but I guess I never caught it on TV. But I kept hearing people say like, oh yeah, I saw that commercial. So because of that, we had like a good synergy. So we decided to move to LA together and get into cartoons and stuff, and made a bunch of stuff. Made a bunch of cartoons for Channel 101. Made a bunch of cartoons for ourselves. Had some success early, like before YouTube was around. Channel 101 was putting videos on the internet and curating comedy stuff, and things were going viral from that. The old website would show like a view counter, which was like a fascinating device back then to watch, a view counter. And the show House of Cosby's we made was like an instant hit, and it just like millions of views happened in a couple months, and all of a sudden the word viral video was coined at some point somewhere around that time. And then YouTube came around and like kind of made that a thing. So it's a little bit of early success in my opinion, of like the style, like just teaching myself how to make cartoons and coming up with something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I whatever, I got to give you props for being involved in internet video pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive. I mean, that's almost like whatever, shooting films before they were talkies, like that shows like that's pretty. I'm just want to give you props for being cutting edge. And
yeah, it was at a time when like I knew how to use HTML. Like, MySpace was around, and people that learned how to use MySpace HTML, like everybody was making their own websites kind of thing. Like there was a vibe about that. So we made our own website and put our own videos up there before we got involved with Channel 101. And then we found Channel 101, and like we're looking for other, like the Lonely Island had their own website with all their funny music videos and stuff they had. And so it was just like this community of websites putting their stuff online kind of formed around the festival that happened every month. So it just kind of grew from there. It had its heyday in like 2005 through 8 or through 10 or even longer. But a lot of the people that are famous now came out of that. Jack Black was involved quite a bit. Sarah Silverman, Kumail Nanjiani, Randall Park did a lot of work there. He's one of my favorites, directors there. So we've just been almost 20 years of me just working at Channel 101 and working at just the random jobs I got because of my experience from being built up by the Channel 101 experience.
Right. So every now and then you'd be poached to do something outside of it.
Yeah. So Rob Schraub, who created Channel 101 with Dan Harmon, they both created a show called the Sarah Silverman program on Comedy Central, and that they needed a visual effects artist. So I was like, they hired me to do that. That was my first professional VFX job. Before that, I was just like editing or general PA work in LA. post PA work, like a lot of post production stuff, assistant editor and editing. So this is the first time I got hired as a visual effects artist because it's a skill that I wasn't like professionally trained on, but I like figured it out, you know. And during that process, Rob was like, "Man, you could just do anything, huh? Like any joke. I wish this joke would happen." And I'm like, "Okay, let me sit here for a few hours and make this happen." And it was just a fun time doing that. So from there, I got to work on Children's Hospital. And
Yeah, but I do have to jump in and say the Sarah Silverman program was brilliant. That was genius. That was genius.
Yeah, I loved
As was
working on it.
Children's Hospital, by the way. Like I just want to note that like the stuff you did. I even remember that. I remember how VFX were often critical to the Sarah Silverman program. So
Yeah.
so kudos to you, man. I'm so
Thanks,
honored to
thanks.
meet one of the guy behind that.
Yeah. Well, I give all the props to Rob Schraub. He's a great director. He's currently writing and directing Rick and Morty episodes, but him and Dan Harmon as well. So like that team is like how I learned how to make films on the fly and on like quickly. And like I use the Dan Harmon story circle method like in all my stuff because I worked with Dan Harmon alongside him during that time that Channel 101 was kicking it. And so I got to have firsthand experience of his storytelling methods, and so it's like that's just kind of ingrained in me now. So yeah, so that's kind of where my sensibilities come from, I guess. Besides just like being an avid sci-fi watcher and just films in general, mostly fucked up films. I like to watch as many fucked up films as possible.
That's fantastic because if they're not a little fucked up, then they're kind of boring.
Yeah. I need to see the depravity or something. Something has to be beyond normal for me. I also like to make sure the work I do is as normal as possible because sometimes when it's super normal, it's funnier. So I strive for that as well.
Excellent. And so it also sounds like you sit down and write sometimes yourself too. You're not just always directing and
Yeah. I write as I'm not really a writer, so I know how to tell stories. I think I just need like an eccentric, muse to work with. Like I need just like one really good artist that can just bring all my visions to life. And so I like to write by necessity, but also I'd like to work with people that are great writers and really funny. So and I almost prefer that. So I'll write just because I have nothing to do. But at some point I want to definitely direct my own writing, stuff that I've written. But for the most part, I'm not really a writer. I just do it if I have to.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, there's no denying that you have, starting in college, you've been around brilliant writers. I mean, just brilliant, all the people that you've worked with are like some of the best writers that we've got, like the best of the generation from Roiland to Harmon, it's like.
And a few others too, like the Drew Hancock from he's the director of Companion. He was from Channel 101. Great writer, and so is Ryan Ridley. He was the writer of what was that movie? That Dracula movie. I forgot the name of it, but he also wrote a bunch of other stuff too. He's a sought after writer for movies. And others people have directed films too. So like it's just I was around a lot of really talented people that I didn't have to write because they were such great writers.
Right. So you brought what was needed and you were part of a community.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's really a very creative community.
Yeah, and that was the best part because we started off as just the three of us. Like it was me, Justin, and Abed. Abed you might know as the original Abed. That's the character from Community is based on. So Community on NBC has a character named Abed, and that's that was a real person, and that was also him. He moved to LA together with us too. He lived with us in Modesto. So we all kind of moved down here together, and we're a team. But then when you find a bunch of other teams working together, there's a lot of crossover happens, and you find new teams, and you form new alliances, and it's competitive, and it's really interesting because different people get together and make things together, and then it's a whole nother entity that you never thought of, and it's really an interesting mixing pot of competitiveness and sharing, your creativity with other people. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that boil over a bunch.
For sure. In fact, what the fuck? I'll share with you a really weird coincidence, which is ages ago, honestly, like a million years ago, I was at a backyard barbecue and I had a friend who was in Drew Carey's improv troupe,
Uh-huh.
along with, I'm forgetting Jeff's last name, but
Jeff
Dan Harmon.
Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met Jeff and Dan at like this barbecue, and Dan Harmon was like talking about, yeah, Spielberg just told me he loves this animated script I wrote, but Universal said no, so it's not going to happen. And he was like, "Can you believe even Steven Spielberg can't get something greenlit in this town?" It was
That's
so
funny.
it's kind of bizarre to me that I'm talking to someone who like you, for all I know, you were there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
It was somewhere in
at a
Los
backyard barbecue.
yeah, it was a barbecue
I could have been
in a
there. Yeah.
grassy backyard behind an apartment building in Los Feliz, I think.
Oh, yeah. I probably was there. I know what house you're talking about. That's funny. Um, yeah, it was an interesting community to grow up around, or not grow up professionally around. Just all these really like really good performers in comedy, but also for film. So it was just all these things put together that I loved. Um, but yeah, Jeff Davis was. We worked with Jeff Davis a bunch.
Yeah.
He's like the lead character in House of Cosby's, and
Yeah. And he's the reason why the lead character in Community is named Jeff, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So like Dan,
So you mentioned
yeah,
Jeff and Abed. I'm like,
there's a dean. There's a guy named Dean Pelton that he named the dean after.
it must be
So,
extra
like,
funny for you as a friend to like see all the inside references.
yeah, it's interesting to see, especially fans react to certain things, and they're like trying to evoke a meaning to something, and I'm like, no, I know Dan, he didn't mean it that way. You don't get the joke, I guess. But it's funny that you think that. So I love the reaction, even if it's like based off of different information. Like they didn't get it, but it's still a funny reaction.
For sure, for sure. And I might have distracted you when you were mentioning Children's Hospital. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
oh yeah, Children's Hospital is fun because that happened over the course of like 6 or 7 years or more. So it was just steady work, and it was fun because it's David Wayne, and he's a great director as well. He's fun to work with. He knows how to use Photoshop, so he like talked to me in like the geek speak, and which was great because like we kind of like we're on the same level of like what was expected. And it's just like I don't know, something about servicing the joke with visual effects is kind of fascinating because
Oh, our
we
there we go.
lose.
You froze for a second. I tried to cover for us, but
That's fine.
we're
I'll
good.
backtrack a bit. I was talking about, I guess, David Wayne, and working with him, and knowing that he knows Photoshop and I use After Effects, he was able to explain to me how he envisioned things, and it was just fun to work with him to like a good enough level because that services the joke. So I really like that nuance of working with people that do comedy, especially sketch comedy. I guess all these people are sketch comedy people, sketch and improv. But that was fun because it was like I feel like visually I got a lot of creative control, and it was as long as it was funny for the joke. So it was a fun show to work on.
Fantastic.
I worked on a bunch of random shows that same company made, just like randomly. They after or during Children's Hospital, they made another show called NTSF SDSUV on Adult Swim.
I loved Adult Swim back in that was like
Yeah.
the golden era. In fact,
Yeah,
I
it was
loved when David Wayne voiced the warden on Super Jail.
Super Jail, yeah, yeah, he's a great actor.
Thought Super
good
Jail
voice.
was one of the greatest things I ever saw.
Yeah, it's a great show, and a lot of those people that worked on that, I know them, and they're great workers, and they're hard workers. I gotta check in on them because I feel like it's hard to find work these days.
The industry's changing on us all, but
Yeah,
well, that's funny because I was gonna say, like, do you want to? Is Mars kind of coming? Is the Mars part of your life still going, or are you going to be
yeah,
able to start planning what's next?
yeah. I'm definitely already working on what's next. because that Mars I was done with since before 2000. We took it to Tribeca at 2024. So it's been kind of done since then. So I've just been kind of sitting on it. The only thing I have to do is just promote it or
Right. So Mars is actually a year and a half old to you.
Yeah, it's old. The Blu-ray's out. The
now.
movie's playing in theaters. It's the fun part is I get to go to some of the Q&As and stuff, and but it's still in theaters right now. It'll probably play through April or so.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I mean, even if you did Tribeca and everything, back in 2024, it's way better to do this kind of rollout of it in theaters and live events and things than if it had just ended up on a streaming service and like you could just say, yeah, that thing I did is on whatever now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know it'll do well on those platforms eventually. Like if it ends up on like Pluto or Tubi or something, or but it'll be a rentable thing. I guess the theatrical release for something like this was definitely unheard of. So I'm glad that we got how many screens we got. I didn't expect it to go out in theaters at all. Where it's like, who puts a indie cartoon feature? It's like, I don't think the animation.
Yeah, but you guys, the teams, you guys supported it and you went out there in person and look, I can tell you for a fact that like theaters in LA are closing in the SoCal area, except those that actually host tons of film festivals. Because honestly, audiences are more interested in independent stuff now than Hollywood stuff. Like, I shouldn't go into too much detail, but like the theater that our festivals are located at, most of the other locations of that chain closed, but that location survived because they had a person who wooed film festivals to come for the last couple of years.
Interesting.
And now there's a film festival most weekends, and the film festival audience is buying Cokes and popcorn and keeping the doors open.
Yeah. Is that something where it's because Channel 101 has always tried to be free entry? Is that you guys do that, or is it something that you guys charge for?
Yeah, we have to. But actually, we're only a $15 ticket.
That's not bad. It's it's really hard to find venues, and we lost our venue a couple times. Like once we lost in the fires at Altadena fires. So we were at the I forgot what he even called PDA. We were at the PDA, and it was a small theater. It was our venue for a couple of years, and it just burnt down. So we had a big search for another venue, and it's hard because we've always been free. We've always tried to just be a free entry, and then we thought about charging, and like it just didn't feel right. But thankfully, the last bookstore downtown gave us their place as a venue for free. Like they're just because they understand, I think, what we're going for, because it's we're trying to bypass the Hollywood system that tells you to not make stuff because you can't afford it, you're not good enough. So I'm glad that there's a venue that finally helped us out.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, actually, I don't know if this is, I should have talked to you about this before we started, but did you see when you picked your time to record this that there's a 4 questions thing that we can finish up with?
Yeah, I saw the 4 questions, yeah.
All right, excellent. Do you want to do the 4 questions now?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, number 1 is just name 3 films you love. I phrase it, just name 3 favorites because Lord knows we all, top 3, best 3 of all time. That's such an overloaded question. So it's really just an idea of 3 things you love. We know you love more than 3 films.
Yeah. I try not to have any favorites, but when I'm posed with a question like this, I do just write down the first thing I think. And the first thing I think is The Fountain is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a perfect movie. And I watch it a lot just to, straighten my head out.
Wow, that's so visually beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And it totally fits within my Jehovah's Witness background of like the imagery that I'd expect if all the shit I grew up with was real, So it really does tack onto my childhood of visualizing Armageddon and stuff like that. So I love that movie. And then, of course, Neverending Story. I read the books. I love the movie. I love all the movies. I love that Jack Black is in one of them, and it's a terrible movie. But the first one, I watched that a lot, and it's just it's for a kid to watch that. I love scary kid stuff, you know. So Neverending Story, I watched a ton. Just the fantasy aspect of it all, and just these weird characters, and just the idea. It's kind of like a monomyth. It's like a you know, the journey was worth the whole thing. The destination is not the point kind of storyline. And like nothing dies, it's just reborn into these cycles of time and whatever. So it was an interesting like philosophy to think about when I was young.
For sure. I confess, you know, I'm embarrassed, man. I'm a little too old for it. So I
Yeah.
didn't see it as a kid. And I think I was in college when it came out. And then and I have never seen it. And I gotta say, people on this podcast often mention it because it's
Interesting.
so important to the generation that came right after me.
Yeah, it's also very creative. Like the set designs were just like, oh, it looks like they did it in small stages. So it looks like a doable movie, you know. Like I feel like I can make a movie like that now.
I really got to see it.
Yeah, it's just got such heart. I don't know. Then the third one, I guess. Monty Python's Holy Grail, of course. It's the movie everybody watched when I was a kid, and I was forced to watch it to understand the references. And I was always bad at that game of like, remember who directed this and what this reference is from, and like what that movie's from. Oh, you didn't get the reference because you don't watch enough movies. Kind of talk amongst kids, you know.
Got it. Yeah, because you didn't get to see everything when you were.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to, so I was
Yeah.
catching up. When I started hanging out with my college friends, it was like that's when I got to see all the good stuff, and so I was just catching up on it. So
Holy Grail is a very important film.
yeah, it is.
My goodness.
It's a great film. I love the idea
I love
that
Life of Brian even more.
yeah, I love all their films. I love all their stuff. I'm a big, huge Terry Gilliam fan, and because his style of filmmaking is my style of filmmaking, I think, because he's got an animation background, and he works with very funny people, and he was the one American on that team that just like had to fit in somehow, and he figured out a way, and that way was animation, and it turned into directing, and it turned into acting, and all this other stuff. So like, I really love that guy.
You're almost the Terry Gilliam of your group.
Yeah, I could say
You know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah, you could say that.
And
Yeah.
by the way, I'm a huge fan. Like for me, Brazil's top three.
Yeah, Brazil is
everything,
amazing.
everything
Fucking love
Gilliam
Brazil.
has done is his
Bandits.
worst film is better than most.
Yeah, he got to work with. He got to make all kinds of great movies with great actors.
Oh yeah. But his imagination is just brilliant.
Fear and Loathing. Come on.
Fear and Loathing is so good.
But like, yeah. So those are my three favorite movies, I guess.
Oh yeah, so those are your three
now.
favorites. All right,
Yeah.
question number 2 is a film you feel is underrated.
Underrated. I don't know if it's underrated, but I feel like it didn't get its day in. It's funny because it's called The Day After Tomorrow. Remember that sci-fi movie?
I saw that. That was pretty good. That
I love that movie. I watched it so many times.
Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Or father?
No,
Oh.
it was
Oh, I'm thinking of the
it's
wrong
Tom
one.
Cruise. It's Tom Cruise and no, you're thinking about that
The storm.
the freezing movie. Yeah, the storm. Yeah, that's something.
Oh, the day after. Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's Tom Cruise and what's her
Oh yeah,
name?
Roland Emmerich film. Yeah.
And it's about time travel and fighting a war, and it's in the future, and it's kind of awesome because it keeps like repeating itself in a way for this system to. I don't know. I just like really big, complicated systems in a storytelling. And it just got me that movie. It's so stupid. Like I'm not really a big like action movie fan, but this movie really I loved how much it forced me to watch it. So
Was that the rad one with Emily Blunt in it?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was that one. And he tried to figure out how to he was just trying to figure out how to win the war against these aliens that were like had this like loop thing, like a time loop thing. So if whenever they lost, they just whenever the aliens lost, they just started the time over to try to win again.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, sorry. I was wrong. Day After Tomorrow is the movie you thought about.
Yeah, Day After Tomorrow
Edge
is
of
the
Tomorrow.
Quaid one.
Okay.
But by the way, Edge of Tomorrow is a great damn film. That is a really good one.
So my bad. Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow.
No, all good. And that is a great film. And yeah, that one, I'm with you. That actually did
Went under the
kind of
radar
come
a
and
little bit,
go, and it didn't. It was one of the smarter films Tom Cruise has made, I think.
Yeah.
And
I think
maybe his fandom didn't really want to smart.
Yeah. I think there was a bad time for him because a lot of that Scientology stuff came out probably around that time. And so people were soured on him. But yeah, underrated. Edge
All right.
of Tomorrow.
Question number 3 is a fun one sometimes. A film you think is overrated.
Avatar. I don't understand why it breaks box office records every damn time. Like I just don't understand. And it wins visual effects every year or every time it's out. I don't understand. I saw the first couple, but like I don't know. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to visual effects. If it's not necessary, you shouldn't do it. And so that something like Avatar is just too much for me. It's just overstimulating. And it's not. It doesn't put me into the story. It keeps me out because I'm a visual effects artist, so I'm picking out all the things that they're trying to do so that I could use it for my job. And it just bugs me. So it's just not a movie I can get into because of my own personal experiences.
And I respect your point of view there because you're as a VFX as someone who does visual effects, you're saying I don't want effects for the sake of effects. I want effects that serve the story.
Yeah, exactly. And Avatar the effects is the movie.
Yeah.
That's the world that this is.
Yeah, honestly, that's the problem I have with those some of the Star Wars universe is it just became about effects instead of about story. And it's like, let's write a story that fits these effects we can do.
Right, exactly.
Whereas in the first movie or two, it was the effects solely served the story.
Yeah.
I'm with you. All right. Well, there is one last question. And
so 3D, there was a whole time that 3D generated stuff was like everybody frowned their nose at it at that time when the first Avatar came around, and I think I was in that camp of like, I want things to look real, not fake.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, the last question is a lesser known film that people should seek out.
Ooh, I really love the movie Henry Fool by Hal Hartley, and it's a very slow burn. And it's really weird to get if you know nothing about it. It's the best way to go into it because it's just it's a lot of talking, but it's just like what are they like? You're really just trying to figure out this movie from the beginning, and it just shapes into something so fantastic that it's just fun. It's a good indie movie, and all that kind of stuff. All of Hal Hartley's movies are great. That was my introduction to him. I think there's 3 movies. I think it's a trilogy actually. So there's 2 more movies after it. But that was out for a long time before the other 2 movies came out, and watched it a lot as when I was younger. And I just think about it all the time because it's just the way that those actors are portraying these characters in just such like a bland way. I don't know. Something magnetic about characters that are like bad actors. Not necessarily bad actors, but like they're not trying to method act here. They're just trying to make a movie. And that definitely comes off, and it's weird material too. So it's like it's great to see this like boring acting. It's not really boring acting, but it's like it's dumbed down. It's not like a blockbuster movie. It's
Oh no, yeah. If anyone knows, I mean, I was a big Hal Hartley fan back in the day, and actually Henry, I think I started with Simple Men or whatever, but yeah, Henry Fool that had Parker Posey, right? And,
yeah.
And someone I love, James Urbaniak, who ended up voicing on Venture Brothers, right? Like
exactly, yeah.
I could watch that guy do anything.
He's amazing, and that's how I knew him for the longest time. So him doing the voice of cartoon stuff was great. He's like he does these he still does like theater in the local theaters around town. So he's like got a theater background.
He's fantastic. But I tell everybody I would watch Parker Posey read out of the phone book, you know.
I love her too. Yeah, I had a huge crush on her back in the day. But that and like Waiting for Guffman, watching her in those 2 movies are just like,
oh my God,
who wouldn't fall in love with her?
She's one of the funniest things in that, and she's probably the funniest person in Best in Show too. She's
yeah. Yeah.
She is. Yeah, no. I think we all had a crush on her. It was
Yeah.
required. If you were straight boy, you had a crush on her because
Yeah.
well, if you like cool, if you were cool.
Yeah. She did a lot of indie stuff back in the day.
Yeah. I guess a lot of guys my age had a thing for Pamela Anderson. I had a thing for Parker Posey.
Nice. Yeah, I was always attracted to funny women. She's definitely one of them. Sarah Silverman's another.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
No, I feel like we talked a lot about stuff.
We did.
I always
We
hate
covered
talking
some
about
ground.
myself so much, but I guess if you wanted to check out more of my work, you could just go to my website, sevannajarian.com. Or if you want to know more about Mars, there's wkukmars.com.
Yeah, and we'll make those clickable links in the show notes so anyone who wants to go straight to your website can, and
Sure.
they go straight to the WKUK, which Whitest Kids U'Know, Mars.
Yep. That's
And
the official
congrats
site
on
for
all the
movie.
work, man. It's really
Yeah, thank you.
it's really great. And you know what? It's nice to know that someone who's making good work is also a cool person with good taste.
Nice. Yeah. I try. I feel like that's the key to making good stuff is to have good taste. So I just try to watch as much as possible. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, here I will do my quick little wrap up. Well, first, thank you, Sevan, and everyone who's listening. This is the Discover Indie Film podcast where we generally talk to filmmakers on the festival circuit. In Sevan's case, you guys did your own little roll up, but it's still in theaters,
Yeah.
and people should definitely check out Whitest Kids U'Know. Knows Mars. Just go to the link. Go to the link and you can find where it's going to be. And
There's no
don't
way to
miss
make
it.
that Googleable.
Oh, and by the way, like if you can use it responsibly, I kind of recommend if you want to get a little stoned for this movie.
yeah,
I
think it's made for stoners. There's a lot of hyperactivity in it. That's could be necessary.
Look, I was enjoying. Honestly, for me, I saw the first half before it kicked in and the second half after it kicked in, and I enjoyed both halves.
It's great.
But I might have enjoyed that climax even more.
Well, yeah, everybody's doing drugs at that point.
Excellent. Well, anyway, so thank you everyone for listening. If you want to learn more about this podcast where we talk to filmmakers on the festival circuit, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. Now, if you change that .com to .org, if you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 festivals in the LA area that are both ranked in the top 100 best reviewed worldwide out of 14,000 festivals. So that's Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles. So go to discoverindiefilm.org to learn about those. I always call them sister festivals. And this year, their cousin in South America was born. We started Film Invasion Lima in Peru. And it went off great, and we're doing it again next year. So that was really fun. So, all right. Thank you so much, Sevan. And
yeah, thank you.
it was a pleasure. And congrats on all the great work. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I'll have to check out all your stuff because
Right.
I like other film festivals. I want to see how they run and
You know,
if I can be part of it.
my humble brag would be we've got this, we try to be bad capitalists and good about the art. So we only accept the best films possible. Like yesterday, I had a guy on this podcast he's from Bahrain. And like, I even told him, I'm like, oh, when we made your film an official selection, we knew you weren't flying out. We knew that your film wasn't going to sell one ticket, but it was one of the best comedic horror films we had that year. So we'd rather have 65 fantastically great indie films than that are just great. Well, anyway, that's our angle. Is we just go for quality, and then we hope the audience shows up instead of picking the film with a huge cast that was shot locally that just isn't very good.
Right.
I know that's better
cool.
capitalism, but we won't do it.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, there I go tooting my horn.
All right.
Thank
I'll
you so
talk
much.
to you soon. All right.
And thank you everyone for listening.